Shabbat Shalom to everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Chodesh Tov, Chanukah Sameach. I was just saying I learned a new holiday, which may not be new for some. Really was saying it's had a revival, but Chag HaBanot, which is a North African holiday of celebrating daughters and women and healing. So also Chag HaBanot Sameach to everyone. It is a special Shabbat. Shabbat is always a special time, but we know that we're in the midst of Hanukkah. We're actually heading toward the end of Hanukkah. And there's a discussion in our halakha, in our law, in the canon of our law. And the question comes up in a situation where, what do you do if you can only afford Shabbat candles or Hanukkah candles? What are you supposed to do? We know that we light our Hanukkah candles first so that we don't light them on Shabbat. We do that first, and then we light our Shabbat candles, bringing in Shabbat. But the question is, what if you can only do one? Is there one that you should prefer or make a preference over the other? And the law comes down and says that you should get your Shabbat candles. You should buy your Shabbat candles. And you may think the reason, I've taught this in a toward Shabbat, so I was thinking, oh, okay, so the reason would probably be because we often see that when there's something that is more common or regular in our calendar, we're taught that we do that thing first. So usually if we're, even with a greeting, if you were to say Shabbat Shalom, you say Shabbat Shalom first because Shabbat comes weekly, then we'd say Chodesh Tov because the new month comes monthly, and then Hanukkah comes once a year. Or there are certain mitzvot that we take on that we say we're going to do them, the ones that are regular, actually we make them the first one, and then we'll do the one that's less regular afterwards. But the rabbis said, no, we buy our Shabbat candles. And the reason why the Shabbat candles need to be lit is because the Shabbat candles represent for us Shalom Bayit. They are the peace within our home. If we don't have our Shabbat candles, quite literally, in a time where there was no electricity, you couldn't see anything in your home. But in a more metaphorical way, we think of the Shabbat candles as bringing in that peace, that light for us. When we say that inner light and saying that what is happening in the home is more important right now, and that's where it all starts. It all starts in the home, it all starts inside of ourselves, and then if you can afford, if you can get the Hanukkah candles come next. The Hanukkah candles, we know, we put them in the window. We say they are outward-facing candles. These are for us, and they're for everyone who's walking by. They're for the world to know. I'll speak a little more about this tomorrow. They're for the world to know that we have these candles. But it starts, what the rabbis tell us in this law, it's just a simple law and a question of saying, what do we buy if we can only afford one? But I think the message of what they're sharing with us is that they say, the peace at home is where it all begins. It's ripples. When we start within ourselves, the Musar movement teaches us this, one midah at a time, one character trait at a time. It all starts at home, and then it moves into the community, and it moves into our state, and it moves into our nation, and the hope is to our world, that it is how we get there. And where does it all start? It's Shabbat. Shabbat is that time for each of us that our souls get to connect with that light, get to connect and slow down, and we say this is the time we're going to invest in our own inner peace, that we're going to invest in our inner peace, and we're going to connect that inner peace with our community. And we're going to take that, and we're going to take that light and kindle it and allow it to shine as bright as possible, leading us into a new week, leading us into the world that we hope to see, in the creation of that world that we hope to see. And so on this Shabbat Hanukkah, on this very special Shabbat, which is Rosh Chodesh and Hanukkah and Shabbat, we already see those ripples that will go from that inner peace. Right now, we're taking this tefillah, we take it and we'll take a deep breath, we'll bring in the words of this tefillah, we'll bring in the divine, in that peace of slowing down, in that light we each have inside of us, and then we'll put it in the windows for it to shine for everyone, making its ripple effects in our world, and please God, bringing us a world that is much brighter than it is dark.